And yes, if you guys are wondering, I'm in my new apartment and I absolutely love it. There will be a house tour coming up soon, guys, so I hope you guys look forward to it, okay? Here we go. Hi everyone, how's it going? This is Riste, your goofy Garen player from North America, and in today's video, I'm going to be giving my final verdict over the Garen changes that are launching no sooner than 9.20. So what does no sooner mean? It means that 9.20 is the earliest that the changes will ship. Maybe they'll land on that patch and maybe it'll be pushed back, we don't know. So we're currently having a lot of Garen mains grow concerns about the rework ever since the proposed changes solidified on the PvE, and I've given these changes a lot of thought. I mean, trust me guys, me and Garen have been buddies for well over 2 years now, and I've accomplished a lot with the champion too. So here's what I have to say in terms of the rework and what you guys should expect from my opinion and standpoint. Now, what you guys will be seeing here on the screen in this video is a game I recorded yesterday versus Fiora on the PvE. Now, I have no idea what the rank of this Fiora is, or if she even plays ranked for that matter, so please keep that in mind. Regardless, I hope you guys enjoy the footage. So let's address the most visible strip of power here in exchange for the other changes proposed, the W nerf. Late game Garen loses 20 armor and magic resistance, and I know that's a shocking number for some people, but honestly, I'm not too fazed by it. Garen used to be designed as an early to mid game champion, but now he feels like a decent mid game champion with a passable late game. And I feel most crucially that his W is a large portion of his power budget currently. There are only a few juggernauts in League of Legends that can actually tank as much damage as Garen can. I mean, just think about it. 50 bonus armor magic resistance, and if you combine that with conditioning, you're basically walking around with a free aftershock with no downtime. So Garen's got a lot of durability. Where is all the damage though? Garen's damage is pretty poor unless you're focusing the villain. This is where all the problems of Garen's current iteration currently flood in. And this rework actually does take away from that a little bit and adds something new. Now, I might not know low elo like the back of my hand, but I remember when I was back in Season 1 playing in Silver, I used to be so imprecise with my itemization. I was so hesitant because I just didn't have the concrete knowledge to say, okay, this item is going to allow me to carry the game, right? So when you're walking into a late game teamfight against Garen and he has 50 bonus armor magic resistance plus conditioning, and you lose that fight, not every low elo player is going to say to themselves, okay, well, I have to prioritize my armor penetration item, otherwise I'm not going to do damage to Garen at all, you know? A lot of low elo players basically follow their builds like cooking recipes, right? They get their build off of Mobifier or they come up with it themselves, but they follow it pretty religiously. And maybe some low elo players adapt their builds, and that's a good thing, but not every low elo player does. At least that's my interpretation of low elo. I don't know, you guys let me know. But regardless, Garen's bulk resistances is actually a really big problem in low elo, and it's one of the reasons why he has a really good win rate right now in solo queue. And you really can't justify buffing the champion any further as he is currently because he gets so much free stats. So you guys might be saying to yourselves, okay Riste, well, Garen's got a decent win rate in solo queue, so what's the point of even changing him? You know, he even got picked in LEC recently by Fnatic, being the vessel for Yuumi. And you know, that's great and all. This has been a really successful year for the champion. I'm really happy for the champion too, because I've obviously put so much time into Garen. It's really great to see him in the spotlight, you know, even if for a brief moment. But the thing about the champion is that because you're forced to farm up 50 bonus armor and magic resistance, which I think we can agree is a large portion of his kit, because of that factor alone, Garen can't really trade because he doesn't have any more room in his budget to really have that early trading power, right? Unless you're taking Grasping and Dying into a matchup that you can go for some short trades in, that's different. But versus like tanks versus like the multitude of Conqueror laners, Garen really has to basically control his wave at his tower and look to farm up a power spike. You know, you're going for that level 11, you're going for that fully stacked W. And Garen is dealing currently with such a weak passive right now that can barely help him win the War of Attrition, which upgrades at level 11, which is okay, but that point is normally around 15 minutes, which is past the point where laning phase ends. You know, I have so many games where I'm trying to get my level 11, but I have both enemy bot laners rotating up to take all my tower plates, and I don't even have my level 11 yet, so I can't even defend the tower. That's basically a really harsh reality of being a Garen player right now, especially if your team is falling behind early. And what's the exchange for all of that suffering? We get 50 bonus armor and magic resistance. Now let me ask you, YouTube, does 20 bonus armor and magic resistance mean anything versus the late game Kai'Sa, the Kog'Maw, the Vayne, the Fiora, any champion with true damage? No, probably not. And this is my biggest problem with the W stacks cap being so high. If you get a snowball on Garen, you can go ahead and buy any items, but you're forced to dedicate your power budget towards getting that amount, which might not even mean anything late game. And because there are so many top lane matchups where you can't hit as hard early, we're basically giving more and more time for those late game carries to come online and to shred us regardless of how much bonus armor and magic resistance that we have. Obviously, if you're in low elo, this isn't much of an issue for a Garen player, right? Unless you're in low elo, of course. But I firmly believe for Garen's other tools to be buffed, they need to go ahead and hit the W. His win rate will be too high in low elo without these changes. I want to show you guys footage of the new passive in action so you guys can see the difference. If you guys play Garen on live currently, you guys will see the difference. It is there. Garen is more of a champion now that just can win the war of attrition, and that is his theme, not just cowering underneath tower, just looking for W stacks, trying to hold on for your dear life versus the multitude of Klepto mages or the ranged Quinn or any of the Conqueror laners. Garen can actually thrive and possibly go ahead and beat out and out-sustain his opponent, and I think that is the most exciting part of playing Garen, just being able to out-resource my opponent. That's what I really enjoy about the champion. Next, I want to talk about Garen's spin. And there's something I want to address very, very concretely in this video because there is something that a lot of Garen mains are overlooking, and I want to go ahead and address it right here and right now. The isolation damage bonus change. Now currently on live, if you're hitting just one target, you get a bonus of 33% increased damage on your spin. Only if you're hitting one target, which means that if you're hitting a champion and you're also hitting a minion, that means you don't get the isolation bonus damage. I just want to let all you lovely people out there know that trading in League of Legends, for anybody who understands trading stances and proper trade management, will fight in their minion waves almost 99% of the time. Fighting with your minion waves is the best way to maximize and minimize trades in the first place. So anybody who understands proper trading fundamentals is going to be able to go ahead and skip out on this mechanic being added to their damage towards them, even if they don't know that Garen has isolation damage on his spin. That, I think, is really, really not good. The new isolation bonus mechanic allows you to apply 25% bonus damage to your closest target when you're hitting your spin, even if it's against multiple targets. That, I think, is a wonderful and fantastic change. This means that if you're hitting an opponent in a mini wave, as long as you're positioning yourself properly, you can still trigger the isolation bonus. And that is what's going to allow Garen's early game damage to become that much higher, compared to not getting an isolation bonus mechanic at all. I want the challenge of being able to position properly to maximize my spin damage. Guys, I don't want Garen to be an easier champion. I want him to get a little bit more complex. And this change is one of the many that excite me about this Rework. I'm still able to trigger my isolation bonus damage with these changes, but it still offers healthy counterplay to the enemy too, and I think that's a cool thing. Did I also mention that with these changes coming up, you'll be able to farm and get more gold? How is that going to be a thing? It's all because of Garen's current spin on live. It is so slow. So for anybody who doesn't know, really quickly, every 3 levels Garen basically gets an extra spin. He starts with 5, he ends with 10. But currently early game, 5 spins over the course of 3 seconds is such a slow frequency. I bet my grandma could spin a TV remote faster than Garen's spin currently at level 1. And versus a lot of difficult matchups, you will get pushed in, which means that you're depending on your Q and spin to basically secure minions, because obviously farming underneath tower is a really difficult thing. But I have countless clips of time again of me missing minions right underneath my spin, because my minions will get to 1 HP and just go ahead and get nabbed right from the caster minion, who sends a nice little package orb right across the field and takes the minion right in front of me. This also includes cannon minions as well. So farming with Garen's spin is a complete lottery game, because you have no guarantee that you're going to actually secure minions if you have ally minions next to the wave that you're farming. And that royally kind of sucks. But here's the thing about Garen's Rework spin. You start with 8 spins at level 1, which is amazing. It's almost double the frequency of live. Because of having more spins over the course of 3 seconds early, that means you are losing less minions to not only tower shots, but minions as well. Because of this change, farming is so much easier. And of course, the more CS that you can secure with this new spin, the more gold you are making. So I'm going to argue that your gold income as Garen is going to increase with this Rework. That frequency is also deterrent to trades as well, because I have so many champions who are able to weave in for a quick auto or two, or casting one of their abilities like Jax's Leap Strike, for example, and they only get hit by one of my spins because my spin is so slow. But with these changes, I can hit multiple spins, which really makes a difference if I'm taking Black Cleaver, because I'll apply more stacks over the course of time. Say you make on average 20 CS more on the Rework Garen compared to live Garen. You can use that gold to go ahead and purchase a dagger. And Garen mathematicians from the Garen mains community have already figured out that if you purchase a dagger at level 4 or 11, you'll technically get an extra spin. And that dagger also increases your attack speed, which makes farming even more easier than it already is because of the Garen changes. You can go ahead and upgrade that dagger into a Trinity Force for an early game power spike, or sit on that component until later, then upgrade it into Trinity Force or Phantom Dancer, and you'll already be out damaging Garen as he currently is on live servers. To further my point, I want to go ahead and Ryan Axis a little bit here, because he recently commented on the Garen changes to address concerns too. So let me go ahead and paraphrase what he said, and he was basically talking about in the future if they release a very, very attractive Juggernaut item that would be amazing for Garen, but it offers a little bit of attack speed to the point where Garen's current model, who doesn't have any attack speed interactions, would make the item inefficient. That kind of sucks for Garen. But with this attack speed iteration change, that's going to welcome new Juggernaut items that might be really, really amazing for the champion down the line. And it looks like with what Riot Axis is alluding to, there could be those items very well on the way next season. Also factor this as well. Garen's base attack damage is one of the highest in League of Legends, but his auto attacks outside of his spin really aren't valuable at all or contributing because you just are using your Q and your spin for your primary damage. They really aren't valued as much. But if you're taking a little bit of attack speed and also taking something like Conqueror, well, congratulations, your damage is actually meaningful after you spin too. So Garen can now transition into an extended trade champion, although of course he's not going to be able to match every extended trade champion because of the steroids that many bruisers and juggernauts have, but at least it's going to be there as an option. That's what I feel like is a really cool thing. And lastly, let's talk about the ultimate, because boy oh boy, I'm so excited for the ultimate changes and just having a consistently always true damage ultimate. It's going to be amazing. If you think about currently Garen's magic damage ultimate, it's nice and all and it hybridizes his damage a bit, but the big downside to that current iteration of his ultimate is if that you get placed onto a team that is AP heavy, well, congratulations, you're already hindering yourself because the itemization that counters the rest of your team is also hurting you as well. That's the big problem. If you think of things like Kassadin, Aftershock, Nullifying Orb, Black Shield, Mama Mortius Hex Drinker, Spare Visage, even Merc Treads, Mercurial Scimitar, Exhaust, Sona's W, Galeo's passive, Silence's passive, any anti-magic damage shield hinders your ultimate, and that goes away if your ultimate is always true damage. That's the cool part. You no longer have to worry about the mental gymnastics of factoring these other deterrences into your stat checking when it comes to executing a target. Your ultimate damage will be guaranteed. Unless it hits a shield, then I just don't know what to tell you at that point. And there is so much more that I can cram into this video to make it double its length to talk about every single little byproduct that these changes are going to bring to the table. But I just want to go ahead and keep it concise here because honestly, I'm just really looking forward to this rework. It's going to increase Garen's agency and also raise his skill expression, which I think are both wonderful things. And to wrap up all my key points here and to finalize my argument towards you guys, I want to leave you with a question. Would you guys prefer 20 bonus armor and magic resistance late game and a mechanic that allows you to increase your damage heavily, but you can't control it and it sometimes goes on an undesirable target? Or would you guys prefer a stronger passive early, a more consistent damaging ultimate, and a spin that not only is going to allow you to farm easier, but can be modulated with attack speed as a bonus and welcome future Juggernaut itemization as well? I don't know about you guys, but I know what kit I'm taking at this point. So I hope you guys really enjoyed the video. Thanks so much for taking time to listen to me. I hope that I was able to address some of your concerns. Obviously, as I said before in past videos, the numbers aren't going to be perfect, but it always gives the opportunity for Riot Games to adjust them, and they can always follow up in the future if Garen is a little bit too weak or a little bit too strong. But regardless, the direction of these changes are still looking solid. I'm looking forward to playing with them 9.20 or whatever patch they go live. And yeah, hopefully Garen will be ultimately a better champion and more appealing to many people. And you know what? If his play rate increases and he's a little bit more popular, that means we get more skins. So, just saying. And you guys can always find me playing Garen in high-low with fully commentating games and live chat-to-chat interaction answering your questions at twitch.tv/riste. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. I hope you have an amazing day, and Demacia, baby. See you later.